Well, good morning, friends, and thank you for joining us to the Equitable Access to Care webinar. We're glad that everybody was able to join us this morning. As one other reminder to please mute your microphones and your telephones to help with any background noise. This presentation came to fruition and to our thoughts and our minds after the system conference. Those of you that attended the system conference may recall that we had a third general session about wraparound services and holistically serving students. And those are those needs that students have outside of the classroom. And we understand and know how important it is to take care of our students because they have lives, because students are people too. And so we thought it would be good to have a follow-up conversation about how two colleges, that would be Davidson and Nash, are how they are. um just a reminder to mute your microphones and your telephones, please. Uh, we wanted to give a couple examples about how two colleges are serving students in those wraparound services, especially when it comes to mental health and physical health of their students. And then one of the colleges, Davidson, is already working with Timely MD. And so we thought it would be good to kind of sandwich Davidson and Nash with the good work that Timely MD does. And then I'll bring it to a close here in a few minutes after we are done this morning. So you can see our agenda here is that, as you know, we have some challenges working across the state with our students. And we need to meet those increased demands that we know that students have for both their mental health and their basic needs. There's cultural and social justice issues going on and medical services. There's so much going on in our students' lives that we can't ignore the need that they have for us to try to partner either with community-based organizations, our own resources, or other solutions in order to help students meet those needs so they can focus on learning and getting on that and staying on that career path and landing in that career that they hope to land in. We also will talk a little bit about and hear from Timely MD here about how they can assist and how they're working with Davidson specifically and then other colleges as well. And then a little bit at the end is I'll talk a little bit about budget constraints and a little bit about the state board and the things that are going on in the strategic planning world. So we don't want to spend too much time here and don't want to steal anybody's thunder. So without further ado, I think the next person on our agenda is from Davidson Community College. And Keisha Jones, I think you're up, ma'am.
Okay. Great morning, everyone. Thank you for attending. So I am going to talk about Davidson Davy and how we have utilized Timely MD. Just to give you a little bit about background about me, I am the interim dean of enrollment, engagement, and completion at the college. Basically, I oversee all of student affairs at the college, and within that, we have a single stop office, which is very similar to what Nash has at what they have at Nash with Blue Love. But basically, within our single stop office, we try to provide non academic supports to our students. In addition to that, we also, within our accessibility counseling and health services department, try to provide additional, at the time, mental health care for our students. So, if thinking about the challenges that we face, and one of the reasons why we were looking into something like Timely MD, it was really around being able to provide access to not only health care, mental health care, but mental health care, but also health care. So at the college, prior to getting Timely MD, we partnered with Davidson County Health Department, where we had a nurse on campus for about 8 to 10 hours per week. And then we partnered with Family Services of Davidson County, where we had a mental health counselor on campus for probably about 16 to 20 hours per week. Well, what we found was that that was not enough for our students, specifically our the mental health counselor. Our students utilized that service to where a lot of times we had people who had to be on waiting lists to see the counselor. So we changed some positions here at the campus. where we transformed our conduct officer at the time to be a conduct officer and a counselor. But with some transitions in staffing, we decided that, hey, that may not be the best way for us to go to provide that service for our students. So when that person transitioned and left the college, we re-examined what it was that we wanted to do. And during COVID, we found that more of our students were dealing with things like anxiety, stress management, and how to manage everything going on with the pandemic, along with what may be going on with their families. And so we saw an uptick in the need for our students to utilize our counseling services that we had on campus. I've been at the college for 6 years, and one of the things that I've always wanted to do was to be able to provide more services to our students, specifically related to mental health, but also to healthcare. We have, as someone that works with Title IX at the college, we have a lot of pregnant students here and a lot of students who need things that they don't always have the access to. So we began to figure out, hey, what is the best way for us to provide our students with the best services that we could as a college based off of their needs, but also what we were able to do. So we did try several different things. As I mentioned, we combined our conduct officer into a conduct officer and a counselor. We still partnered with Family Services of Davidson County. We still partnered with the Davidson County Health Department with having a campus nurse. But the other thing that we were also thinking about is that our students need services beyond the times in which we're open. One of the things that I think I've been talking about a lot here at Davidson is really rethinking our business model and our hours of operation and how we service our students. Here at Davidson, I do think we do a good job with providing evening and weekend services and trying to assist students, but with the different partnerships that we had specifically related to healthcare and mental health, we can't expect for outside agencies to be able to provide services to our students in the evening. So how can we begin to see how we can shift and change and give them the true access that they need to be successful? So, in thinking about our why, one of the things that we were doing as a part of the pandemic was partnering with Novant Health to provide COVID testing for our students and faculty and staff on our campus. We were already partnering with the health department to provide vaccinations, but we also did something with our faculty, staff, and students to be able to do consistent testing as well. Well, as a part of that partnership, they also presented something similar to Timely MD about being able to provide some telehealth services to our students. So that sparked that interest of how can we provide these services at the fingertips of our students, essentially. I talked about the staffing and thinking about the availability of our staff versus the needs of our students, right? So one of the things
I'm not going to put my video out there, so I'm back out without.
One of the things we strive to do here is meet our students where they are. You know, something that all of us at the community college want to do. So thinking about what are the different ways that we can still be able to provide those services to our students that generally are outside of our regular business hours of 8 to 5. And then ultimately, in thinking about our strategic plan, we were also in a new strategic planning phase. And ultimately, this service fit right in with our intentional decisions to weave equity throughout our strategic plan. So, in thinking about how and the why we decided that we were going to go down this road, it really came back down to the bottom line of how can we rethink our business model and provide additional assistance to our students. So, how did we end up getting with Timely MD and paying for that? So, like I said, Novant Health had already been reaching out to us, and we already had some partnerships related to providing some mental health healthcare type things for our students. But we were ultimately able to do a session or meeting with Timely MD, and they were able to talk to us about the services that they offered. And at the time, we had HER funding, and we were thinking about different ways that we can utilize our HER funding to benefit our students. I think we were very intentional and strategic in how we went about identifying how we were going to spend our money. We had a team of people to kind of talk through the different things that we wanted to do as a campus and how we would do that. And so when thinking about our strategic plan, the need to service our students, seeing that we had an uptick in the number of students who were accessing our specifically our mental health services that we had on a part-time basis, it just seemed like this was going to be a good idea for us. So in February of 2022, we rolled out Timely MD to our campus. Now, what I will say that it has been it's been slow getting people to utilize it. However, we are at 200 students registered in utilizing Timely MD, and we get positive feedback from our students. And what we're finding is that majority of our students are doing exactly what we thought that they would be doing, which is utilizing those services outside of our normal business hours. Majority of our students are utilizing those services in the evenings and on the weekends when we are not here, when we don't have anyone available to serve those students. And so ultimately, we're able to meet those students truly where they are and at their fingertips, because they're able to utilize their handheld devices to do that and have healthcare appointments, mental health appointments with our with the Timely MD folks. So it has been definitely an added benefit for us as it relates to servicing our students. Even though it is slow, I think there does need to be more engagement, and we partnered with Timely MD to figure out ways that we can better engage our students. We partnered with them to come on campus and do certain events with us with our students to get more usage. So in thinking about the now what and what we want to see occur with Timely MD beyond our initial rollout is getting more students to utilize the service. So we don't utilize the service with all of our students. We utilize it with our curriculum only students right now. So we're piloting it with those students. And as indicated, the ones that are using it are reaping a benefit. We do hear positive feedback from students. It's helped us in times where our family services representative isn't on campus. Because as mentioned, she's only here 16 hours per week, 16 to 20 hours per week, but we are here all day, every day, right? So there have been moments where we didn't necessarily have a counselor on staff, where then we were able to connect the student to someone with Timely MD to get some immediate assistance. So it's helped us in times where, even though we do have some services here, we've been able to fill in some of those gaps for our students. The other piece is around how we're going to sustain it beyond our HER funds. That is something as a college that we have to talk about and think about, beyond our initial contract period, how we're going to sustain it. JW, you can go to the next slide. So in thinking about who is utilizing it, majority of the folks that are utilizing it is female. About 59% of our students are utilizing it by their phone, which is putting it at their fingertips. They're able to access that at the times in which they need it. We do have a majority of our students that are utilizing it is white, but it aligns with our student population at the college. And then 53% of our students are over the age of 23. One of the things that we've heard from our students that is a benefit is that they get to make the choice of who they are going to see, right? So right now, especially when you think about mental health counseling, and as a person of color, sometimes you want a person of color as your counselor. Not to say that anyone else may not be able to help you, but you may just feel more comfortable and feel as though that person is able to better understand you. So students have those options in Timely MD, and they have the option to get to pick who they want to work with and who they get to get assistance from. You can go to the next slide, JW. The other piece to this is I've mentioned already that majority of our students are using it after hours. And they do have a positive rating when working with the individuals on Timely MD. So if I could say anything as it relates to the services that we've had, I think it's benefited our students, the ones that are utilizing it. I do think that we need to work to get more students to utilize the service, but for the students that are utilizing it, they've seen an added benefit to it. So that's all I have for Davis and David.
Well, thank you, Keisha. I really appreciate you sharing where you've been, where you are now, and the benefits of your partnership with Timely MD. And also appreciate you sharing exactly what's going on in the now and the needs of your students. So thank you, Keisha. At this time, I think we're going to hear from our friends at Timely MD to talk a little bit about what they're seeing across the nation, across our state, and how they partner with some other people. So we're not hearing you. I think your microphone is muted.
Thank you. Okay.
Sure.
My name is Saley Fakorzi. I work with Timely MD. I'm the Director of Mental Health Operations here. I'm going to take some time to just kind of overview a little bit of what we've been seeing. I also like to note that I am a clinician. I am a practicing clinician, and one of the viewpoints that I have working with Timely and also the schools that we partner with it's just the idea that there are so many students that continue to struggle with what to do next and how to manage the support of their own mental health and well being. And as we review just the overall state of student health and well being, what we've seen is that more than 88% of students that we surveyed on campuses believe that there is a mental health crisis on college campuses. That's evident from how they're showing up in class to how they're showing up on the first day at freshman orientation. Many students have already stated before they reach campus that they're overwhelmed, they're stressed out. They believe that they have tools and they want to use tools that are given to them, but don't know how. So having resources is great, but getting the help and support to navigate resources is essential for them. 63% of students with an associate's degree who considered stopping out of school in the past 6 months all attribute that to emotional stress. Those are areas in life that a lot of times can't be measured, except for when things have gotten to the point that they're unbearable. When 4 out of 5 students surveyed said that they think their college is not sometimes not providing enough support, I don't believe from where we stand that there's any school that doesn't want to provide the support. But what students are looking for is in the moment support that makes sense to them in the times that they need it the most. And they want something, number one response says that they want something that provides them with just that remote health and well being options, such as telehealth and ways that they are able to access care in ways that are comfortable, accessible, and familiar to them. And then the more we provide those resources for students, the more we're able to show them that, yes, everyone is listening to you. We hear the need. We see that you are willing to, because our students that we have now, I think everyone would agree that what they've been through in the past 2 to 3 years has shown that they're resourceful, they're resilient, and we want to continue to support that by giving them options that they're able to use in the moment. So that's just an overview of the state and how we have been approaching supporting students now has really been an all hands on deck approach. Being a solution for virtual health and well-being means that we have to have a comprehensive approach to support students. I don't believe we can do this by ourselves. It is not a one-man job at all. So every partnership includes a very intricate plan to ingrain ourselves in the community and in within the campus that we're serving. So prevention is a definite part of it. Having students be able to understand before a crisis or before feeling overwhelmed and with no choices, how are we addressing preventative care, intervening in times when it's most important during a crisis, and partnering with the campuses and the support systems that are in person to make sure that students are adequately supported all the way around. Having post-prevention services when there is a crisis or a tragic event on campuses. I know we've been hearing a lot in the news recently about events at different campuses that are devastating. Timely MD is able to also partner with campuses to understand how do we support students when there's events that are coming out of the blue, unknown of how to deal with them. How do we support students and staff and faculty in real time to make sure that our students are well? Socio-ecological perspectives, equitable and inclusive services, and evidence-based practices are really where we hang our hat, along with our immersion into campuses and the community, because every campus is different. We have to be able to educate students and provide resources, help them navigate care on their own for the first time. But doing so means that we're breaking down barriers to care. We're educating, we're providing equitable and inclusive services. The fact that students are able to, visit the platform, select a provider, understand if they need on-demand resources, understand if they need, in the moment care. Do I need a medical visit? Do I need scheduled counseling? And trying to work through that process, but you're able to do it free of charge. They're not encountered with any type of payment options to make them feel that they might have some barrier to this care. Is freeing, it's liberating, and it also empowers them to continue to plow forward and make it happen. So evidence-based and informed, that goes without saying. The only way we're able to serve our students with a high level of quality is to have providers and programs and information in place to that is definitely tested and evidence-based. We we enjoy the fact that students are coming to us with a breadth of knowledge that they've received from their cell phones, from social media, and any other sources. But like I said before, our students currently today are resilient, and that resilience comes from the fact that they have had information at their fingertips for a very long period of time of their life. And it also helps them to be more informed about, what they might want and their idea of what treatment should look like. And that is as a clinician, I think that's a very great place for someone to start. I cannot say when I was a freshman in college that I knew the difference between CBT and DBT and mindfulness, but our students do. And when they do, want to continue that education of health and well-being, our job is to help them navigate that and give them all the tools to make it happen. We can switch to the next slide. Part of our diving into helping and supporting with colleges and institutions and community colleges is understanding that while we know each campus is different, each student is different, each community is different. So we have spent a great deal of time understanding the differences that students need as far as basic support. When we understand that there are students that are stopping out of school because of food insecurities, housing insecurities, needing childcare, understanding that they need legal support for any level of domestic issues or lack thereof, and not understanding what they need to do next. We understand that when basic needs are taken care of, we're able to retain students. We're able to help them focus. We're able to help them understand that education is something that they can complete. Their education is something they can complete from start to finish without having the additional stress of um, not knowing where to go to get some of those basic needs satisfied. So the program that we started with basic needs, it serves to provide a way that they can relieve some level of stress. And knowing that students are struggling with different areas when they have families and children while they're going to school, they're juggling jobs. They might be juggling, childcare issues, anything that they're addressing, we're able to help come alongside them and navigate those, partner with the school, partner with the community, and make sure that students are supported. And I think the one thing that we really have to emphasize is the fact the only way this is successful, like I said before, all hands on deck, yes. But really Timely MD becoming a part of that counseling center. I tell a lot of our schools that our program is set to make sure that we feel like we're the counseling center right down the hall, in the office right down the hall. So we would be peeking our head in from time to time, talking to each other about supporting an individual student. And it's about the individual students, and that's what makes the difference. I'm So I'm gonna make sure that that Michelle, if available, would also be able to chime in here a little bit. But our impact on community colleges and being able to support the care for community college students, like we were saying before, if 74% of visits on our platform are reporting in mental health improvement, that says a lot. That means we're addressing specific needs in the time that students need them. And when we understand that there's a sharp decline overall just in the number of Americans that are going to college, I know there's that report from NAMI, and we understand that one of the barriers is making sure that students with different demographic compilations and other, individual needs, that those are being addressed. So students being able to take advantage of the 24/7 care, that has been impactful. 45% of visits are occurring after hours. I am a firm believer that a crisis does not happen from 9 to 5. Um, so the line of work that I worked in, I don't remember crises. I don't see them from 9 to 5. They're usually at 2 a.m. And at 2 a.m., we also need all hands on deck. We need to know from our partnership and our intricate involvement in campus and understanding that particular institution, that we know who to call and who's important to notify within the first 24 to 48 and 72 hours of a crisis, how a student is going to be supported ongoing after, after a major crisis or health or safety concerns. Timely MD eliminates the wait time for students, making sure that they're able to connect with care even at 2 a.m. very quickly, in less than 5 minutes on average. And 1 in 10 of every college community students in the US now has access to timely care. That's very important to us because that shows our involvement and our commitment to community college space, and understanding too that the face of academics is changing, and we enjoy that because that means more people are having access. And that means just, it's encouraging us to have that level of support for students going forward.
So if I could add anything, hi everyone, my name is Michelle Ward. I'm right down the street from many of you in High Point, North Carolina. As a former higher ed professional, I decided to come to Timely because I saw with the pandemic and how it affected a lot of the students that I was working with. I previously worked in housing and residence life at Salem College and Guilford College. I think I can say that. So quick shout out to Ann Proudfit at Guilford Tech. Really excited to see that you're on the call. And I just wanted to talk more about what implementation and how we work specifically with the schools that we implement. Like I said, I'm in North Carolina and have had the honor to work with Keisha and Demetria at Davidson Davy, and so excited to be able to share with you all just on the things that I've seen and the impact that Timely has had, just from me working here working with the school specifically. So when I think about how we are working with our students, I think about how it's so important to be intentional with what we're doing and how just the ability to be physically on the ground. So you all are my people. I think I can confidently say that because here in the state of North Carolina, it's like, all right, guys, let's get the ball rolling. I very much am appreciative of just how open folks have been and how the intentionality of working with students, especially in the mental health realm, has increased significantly, right? So when I think about it being a coordinated effort, it is coming to campus, it is having conversations and seeing who can we get in front of, how do we engage students? And JW, if you could go to the next slide for me. when I think about the keys to a successful program integration, right, it's communication and trust. Those are the number one and number two. Without that, and being an extension of somebody's office, which I say that all the time as well. I am an extension of someone's office. It's all about, for me, increasing access and decreasing barriers. And what I have seen from the schools that I've worked with a lot of them being in North Carolina, our students that are needing support, sometimes they don't even know where to start with where that support comes from. So when a student is getting access to Timely and wanting to figure out what is the next step, sometimes it's something as simple as logging in and doing a self-care session, a mindfulness session, and then that lowers the barriers, and we see students increase in the usage that they actually are doing with or using with our platform. So when I think about how we implement things, it's very intentional about what has worked for you all students, what kind of success metrics are we actually looking for, how do we educate staff that's on campus and letting them know what resources are available to students, and then from something as simple as what does marketing look like? If we have a bulletin board that has access in the student center that students are always coming through, what are we putting on there? What does that look like? What kind of conversations can we have? And we do not shy away from doing presentations with anyone. As someone that's worked in res ed before, I talk to students all the time and have really seen that when they have the ability to ask questions and get the answers that they're looking for, because at some point, we all understand, right, that students, they're not going to get access the way that we want them to. It's really putting it at the tips of their finger, like what Keisha was saying. So once they realize, nope, I can just use this platform and really get access to the care, we've seen a difference of the differences across the country. So one thing that I really want to stress is that we really listen to student feedback, and we're always expanding and trying to see how can we make sure that students get the access that they need, because I'll probably say it 10 or 15 more times, it's all about access to me. If a student doesn't have the needs or have their basic needs met, then how are we going to expect for them to be successful? So at a minimum, it's like, okay, we can figure this out and make sure that they have exactly what they're looking for. And let me see if I'm missing anything. I can truly say the fact that I'm here in North Carolina has been just, I'm going to call it a blessing because I don't know what else to call it, but the ability to know like what is happening in North Carolina, specifically educational wise, and even in the community college system. So the ability to know in my previous life, it was me having conversations with students about, well, maybe this might not be the right situation for you. What kind of community colleges do you have back home? And how do we make sure that we are getting you as to where you need to be in terms of what success actually looks like? So from our perspective, it is all hands on deck. We try to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So any conversations with IT, we get connected to those folks. Any conversations with different stakeholders on campus, we make sure that we're having those conversations. And it's really shown that when all hands are on deck and all hands are working together, we've seen that our program can be successful on campuses. And it's like anything else, right? We're thinking it's a garden, right? We're going to seed everything and we're going to make sure that we're watering it when we need to water it, and we'll take out the weeds when we need to take out the weeds. But we're very intentional about what that process looks like. And it does take some time to grow because like any successful program, it's going to take some time. So we're really excited to at least at minimum have this conversation with you all so we can talk about some of the successes that we've had at Davidson Davie. And that's a little bit from our perspective, but I know that there are other ways that many people can address mental health. So I wanted to kick it over to Marbeth, who's going to talk about some of the other strategies that they are working through at Nash Community College. So thank you for the time.
Good morning. I am Marbeth Holmes. I'm our Dean of Student Success at Nash Community. I'm also a licensed clinical social worker and a licensed clinical addiction specialist and a certified trauma clinician. And I just want to say love lives here at Nash. So we started our Student Wellness Center in 2014 because we recognized an increased need in mental health stability for our students. So we started off with clinical services, and then we really let the needs of the students kind of develop the services that we offer. So rather than us creating something we thought they needed, we listened to students' needs and then strove to meet those needs. So our clinical services we offer, and I will tell you, since the pandemic, we have seen an increase in over 200% of students requesting those clinical services. We also have a collegiate recovery program because we recognize that community college students are students who are in need of recovery or recovery supports. So we offer that service. We were the first community college in the state to partner with Single Stop, and Single Stop is a technology tool. It screens for Medicaid, SNAP benefits, Pell eligibility, earned income tax credits, and with that also child care needs, legal referrals, and we have identified almost $6.7 million of helping resources since we partnered with Single Stop, and we have identified 1.1 million in pocket this year. So we know that students have needs, unmet financial barriers, and we are working hard to meet those needs. We do health screenings, we have wellness fairs, recovery fairs, and we too have partnered with our local mobile healthcare unit. So they are on our campus. We have testing for COVID, HIV, we have healthcare with primary healthcare providers, and all of that is HIPAA compliant confidential services. Sometimes students are identified as eligible for benefits, but the application for those benefits itself is a barrier. So we also provide application assistance for benefits and applications for our referral services. And I have to say, our campus culture of Blue Love is truly campus wide. But in addition to that trauma informed and empathic care campus wide, we also have a Blue Love Fund that provides emergency assistance to students who may need help with transportation, could be a gas card, could be a bus pass, food, which could be the food pantry referral. It also could be a meal voucher so that they can eat this today, that day that they're on campus. Our food pantry referral has seen a significant increase in utilization of that. In the first 2 months of this semester, we served more students than we had in a whole year previously. And I want to give a shout out to our president, Dr. Honeycutt. We had a big food drive in preparation for the holidays, and he was a matching donor for our food pantry, and we turned it into a campus-wide event to really support students, but also draw attention to the fact that students have food insecurity, and that's very important. Hungry students don't perform well in a classroom. We also have a professional clothes closet that is run by our SGA as well, and that helps students get prepared for interviews. A lot of times our students don't have professional success clothes to wear for an interview, so we offer that. We offer victims advocacy and legal referrals. Some of our students experience domestic violence or they experience victimization, and we can provide some advocacy for that. And we have partnered with legal aid and several of our local legal service providers, so we can refer our students for that. And suicide prevention is key to community college campuses. And I would argue we don't like to talk about it. It makes us uncomfortable, but it's suicide prevention is key for helping inform students, classmates, they may not be having dark thoughts themselves, but they may know someone at home, they may know a classmate who does. So arming our student population as well as our faculty and staff members with that 988 number and a plan to sit with the person, stay with them, call for help, and wait till help arrives has really been transformative. We've had a lot of positive feedback from that. We are an early college, high school site also, and dual enrollment. So having a suicide prevention and problem gambling prevention programs on our campus has really been beneficial. Many families in our area have some gambling issues. It's an anti-poverty dream, and I think it is something that our students seek information about. We do presentations about it, but they will come to the Student Wellness Center and ask specifically for information that they can take back to their loved ones. So we did this in 2014, and then we grew. And then with our QEP, we grew even more and created a success network, which included success coaching. And all of our success coaches have green zone training to work with veterans. They have safe zone training to work with our LGBTQI population. And they also have diversity, equity, and inclusion training. And we do DEI training campus-wide as well. But they also provide academic support. Our students will share one of the things that increases anxiety for them is financial insecurity and academic insecurity, that vulnerability that's created by not yet quite believing that they are capable of being college students. So our success coaches have been very instrumental in demonstrating that, and we have seen an increase in enrollment by students who have been participated in the success coaching. And now every student at Nash, when they are their first semester, they are automatically assigned a success coach that is an expert content area in their field of study. Our MMSI program that we call MAIL was a part of our Student Wellness Center, and with the Success Network, it transitioned into the Success Coaching and Advising and Success Center. And instead of serving only our minority male success initiative with our male club, we added a female version that matches that. And we have piloted that and started that this fall. And that is the Women Achieving Leadership and Excellence. And we provide mentoring and then leadership workshops for those students. We also have disability services under that because we want to make sure we are inclusive and that all students have access to resources that they need. So disability services comes under that. Our career placement comes under our success network, because the ultimate definition of success for students is a job in their career field. So career placement might be for internship, service learning, and part-time work while they're here. We also like to include our student workers as part of our success network. And then our ACA student success class, we have added into the success network because that is a required course for our first-time students. And one of the things that I am very proud of that demonstrates our Blue Love culture campus-wide is we have trained 101 team members in mental health first aid. So no matter where a student is on our campus, and this includes our senior leadership who participated too, they have a mental health first aid trained person on that hallway, in that building, on that floor, all across campus. So we talk about wraparound services. We also need to look at training people all across the campus to provide that. And I agree wholeheartedly with Timely MD. Strategic implementation campus-wide is important. Securing faculty and team member buy-in is very important. We have been fortunate to have that with our leadership when Dr. Carver was here, and our transitioned into our leadership with Dr. Honeycutt. We have expanded that social work lens, that diversity, equity, and inclusion lens. And what we have seen is when we integrate into the Common Core syllabus, into our online orientation, all links directly on our website to resources, that we have normalized help seeking in a way that has really increased utilization and increased students' comfort level with sharing their needs with us at Team Nash. So what that really looks like for us is we've seen an increase in persistence rates. Our lowest persistent rates for students who use our services has been 60% retention, where they were registered for the fall and continued in the spring. 60% has been the lowest that we have had. And then building back from COVID, last year we had 72%. And then this year we've seen 79% persistence rate. And I think that's incredibly awesome. We also have, to celebrate our collegiate recovery graduation rates, every single student, 100% of our students who participate in the collegiate recovery program graduate. And our students who use our services graduate with honors, with highest honors, and then they transition. And here are a few examples of student success that have utilized our services, ready to stop out, ready to withdraw, dealing with family issues, utilized our student wellness resources, graduated with honors in the culinary program, and now landed a job and works at the Angus Barn and is serving actually as an advisory committee member for the Student Wellness Advisory Board. And she's preparing to write a cookbook for children with colitis and celiac disease. So that's pretty awesome, I think. We also had a student in recovery who engaged in the clinical services, the collegiate recovery. While she was a student, she got her North Carolina peer support specialist certification. She graduated with her human services degree, and she's now co-chair of our local care coalition that just this January received a $1 million HRSA grant. And she runs substance use disorder groups at a local treatment facility. And then we had an ESL student who utilized a variety of helping resources, especially our MMSI program and our success coaching, and earned not just 1 degree or 2 degrees, but 3 degrees from Nash Community College, and then transferred to NC State, earned his BS in engineering, and he now has his dream job at Cummings. So these are just a few examples that I pulled together of students who have really demonstrated that empowering support can allow students to thrive and reach their dream. So I'm very grateful to be a part of Nash Community College and grateful for this opportunity today to share a little bit about our campus culture of Blue Love. Thank you, JW. Back to you, Dr. Kelly.
Oh, thank you, Marbeth. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your sharing with us here this morning. And so, friends, we only have this is the last slide. And I'm going to kind of bring us to a close, and then we'll open up for questions. And so we had an opportunity here so far today to hear from Davidson Davey, who was doing some really good work and then chose Timely MD to integrate with them as a solution partner. And then we heard really great information here from Nash Community College and the great work that they're doing without a solution partner, such as Timely MD. And so there's 2 different models there that are being very effective in serving our students. And then I want to push all the way back to our system conference in that 3rd general session again, is that we heard from Nash Community College, and we heard from 3 potential solution partners, and how that might be effective in helping us serve our students. And so, Marbeth, I'm going to pitch a question to you when I get done with this slide to ask you, how would you potentially integrate with a solution partner like Timely MD if you had the opportunity? So be ready for that question here in a couple of minutes. So where do we go from here? So I think first of all is I think we need to continue the work of helping our campus and stakeholders realize that there is a need for virtual healthcare and basic needs support. Um, that sometimes you may be surprised that there are still stakeholders that do not realize that there really is a real need for that for the students that we serve. And so that kind of leads right to the next thing that we would like to challenge you to do and ask you to do, and that's to keep your senior administration informed of the basic needs of your students, because they're going to be unique. Those needs are going to be unique depending on your campus and depending on your situation. So keep that at the forefront of the conversation of senior administration on your campus. But then don't have that deficit mindset. Also recommend student wellness solutions, either modeling after some of the things that Nash and Davidson Davy were doing without a solution partner, or the things that are possible with a solution partner. So have that positive base when you have those conversations. And then the third bullet here is something that I'm very excited about, and that is that the most recent system strategic plan that the state board has just recently adopted. If I think we might be able to put a link in the website here in a few minutes, but goal number 3, I'm going to read a little bit to you that because this is really exciting and I want to get the words exactly correct. Is goal number 3 reads student success objectives and strategies. And then objective 3.3 reads, promote a safe, healthy, and resilient learning environment. And then the strategy, one of the strategies under that objective reads, pursue statewide funding for wraparound services and support to advance greater student success and completion, including increased funding for student access to mental and physical health services. So what does that mean? I don't know for sure right now. The exciting part is that this is on the radar of the State Board of Community Colleges, and that they realize how important this is to serve our students holistically, and they understand that funding is needed at the state and local levels in order for us to successfully do this. So does that mean partnering with a solution partner like Timely MD? Does that mean giving more solutions, more like what is going on at Nash? Maybe a combination of both. I don't know for sure. The work has just begun in this area, and the state board has just begun looking at tactics of how to pursue these different strategies that they've been dealing with. However, the exciting part is that it is on the state board's radar, and I'm excited to see where we will be in the next several months as far as this work. So then the last bullet I have here for us today is experience positive impact together. I think one thing that you heard from both Keisha and Marbeth is that this was a partnership on the campus, from all the way from the president's office to the classroom to the staff offices, on how to best serve our students. So keep that positive relationship on your campuses, and then also with your community-based organizations. Please continue that work and look for opportunities to serve your students. One thing that I would like to say, and many of you will understand this, and that is, don't wait on the system office if you have opportunities that you need to seize to better serve your students, whether that's with a solution partner such as Timely MD or other integrated approaches to serve your students. Please seize those opportunities as they come, and then hopefully we will come along in the near future to partner with you and to improve our services. So that's all we have as a presentation today. And we want to take time now to entertain any questions or any comments that people may have. And a lot of times I feel like that the question and answer period is a little more robust when we turn the recording off. So this ends our presentation, and we'll go into our Q&A period, and I'll stop the recording at this time. So feel free to either put a question in the chat, or feel free to go ahead and